Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus, and as you can see today I'm starting my playthrough of Dead Reckoning. It's really a gorgeous game. I mean, no surprise, the art is being done by Ian O'Toole. Overall, the presentation of this game is really top notch. It's a Kickstarter, so I think that's basically what you are expecting these days. Luckily, this game also comes with a solo mode, which I have never played before. I only did a two-player game, basically a training game for me, just to get into, let's say, the core rules of the things. You know, I'm a big fan of easy to follow, straightforward solo rules. Unfortunately, this game is not one of those. It's a very involved kind of an AI. It comes with a nice deck of cards, that's something that's good, but there is still a lot of, let's say, interpretation that needs to go in there. And so expect me to do a lot of mistakes here. So you have been warned, and I think I will basically dive into the game right away. I'm playing as a blue player here, the Widowmaker. The yellow player, who is the AI, I think it's called the Wayward Covenant or so, doesn't really come with a shipboard. I only need a ship, which is here. They have a dock tile where they also keep track of their starting gold. Each player starts the game with 15 golds. I think these coins do not come with the game. I can imagine that there was an extra pledge or so, an add-on for custom pirate coins, but I really have a ton of pirate coins. These show it too, but I will use them as a 5, so be warned here. The rules are not specifically clear if the AI also starts with their starting cargo here, with their goods or what it is. I think it is because they really tell me it's a two-player game, and the first player starts with 1 cargo, whereas second player 2, third player 3, and then some weird stuff will happening. They don't have any kind of a crew deck. They have this AI deck here, which basically is all what you need to play the Wayward Covenant here. And I think with that being said, we should be able to go. The game will end when one of the players has made it to 4 achievements. All of the other players will get an extra turn, but not the player who triggered the end of the game. You will then score some, let's say, extra coins for each of those achievements here. And coins is basically the in-game currency in respect to some of the things that you want to buy, but it's also victory points at the end of the game. And again, whenever you see this here, this means 4 coins, and that's then in the end results into 4 victory points at the end of the game. And I think that's not really different in a solo game in this case. The setup is somewhat random in respect to how many tiles you put in. I think this is basically preset depending a little bit on the amount of players. With more players you have more ocean tiles, or with open water tiles here, but then in the end you shuffle everything together and you come up with this 4x3 grid here. The first row is always revealed at the start of the game, and this is those I think advancement cards here. They could also come with an encounter. Right now I only have advancement here, which basically make your deck stronger. So this is a card crafting system. I think this is what AG is referring those to, and works pretty well. And I believe there was this fantasy themed game before. I keep forgetting the name. Never played this one here, but the card mechanic always sounded intriguing to me. So I'm really pretty happy that they did this kind of a deck building. It's not really deck building, again, it's a card crafting system. You will always end up with the same cards in your deck, but you will, whatever, level them up. You will apply additional advancement on them without destroying them. It's not a legacy game, which I really do like a lot. Okay, I think enough said. During your turn, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can load, unload, rearrange, jettison play cards, set sails, move. Then we have to set sails first. Makes sense, right? We can buy advances or resolve encounters basically here on the main game board, and we can use our abilities on our card. And these abilities is basically the meat of the game. It comes with tons of different icons on these cards. You can attack, you can lay influence cubes and whatnot, but this is something I really will explain you as I go. And I think the first thing that you may want to do is to look at your starting hand of cards. Each player has the same amount of cards and the same type of cards. Of course, again, you shuffle them together. I think it's a deck of 12 cards each, and through the card crafting system you will then make your deck hopefully stronger as you go. All of those are now at level 1 basically. you can level up your characters basically 3 times, so up to level 4. Right now they're all level 1, and they all come with basically one measly ability down here. The captain, for example, gives us a sail to move further. The bosun here gives us some free goods. The same is here for the crew. The deckhand allows us to place influence cubes, and you always see what happens when you level up to, or your deckhand to the next level. The game also comes with this overview here, but I think these cards work pretty well. But sometimes you really want to make sure, okay, which card do I need to level up in order to do this and that, for example. So in order to build something or to buy upgrades, you really have to, for example, upgrade very specific folks, like the bosun here. You have to bring him to level 3 in order to get your first ship upgrades, for example. And yeah, that's basically what we have to live with. Again, as there are a ton of different achievements, like placing or building buildings, like getting extra upgrades for your ship, sinking other players, for example, that's gives you some direction. And I thought that the game also, or the rules also, recommend you to go with these bonus achievement tiles. But again, I don't think that those are allowed in a solo game here, because again, it gives you even more victory points in the end. And I think the idea is to make it as difficult and challenging as possible. Okay, so what are we going to do? Right now, I'm not 100% sure yet how many times I want to move or how far I want to move. But I think I want to typically start your turn by setting some sails, because in order to leverage the sail tokens on your ship here, your sail icons on your ship here, you have to make sure that there is nothing loaded into the section. So this hold basically works either you can use it for its sail, or you can use it for the cargo hold. And again, this cargo hold here can hold up to 3 goods and or gold coins in this case. And as soon as you loaded something in there, basically you can, this sail is pretty much covered. During harbor, or when you are in harbor, or when you are in an island you control, in theory you can load and unload any amount of time. So this is very strangely from a rules perspective, but then you could basically move everything to the harbor first, set your sails, load again, and then you have used your sail, because while you have put it onto your harbor, you could have set your sails. This feels a little bit unthematic to me, because I always thought, okay, if you're loading those up, your ship gets simply heavier, and that's why you don't get as much speed. But as you can really unload everything into the harbor first, and then set your sails, and then load everything back to your ship, I don't know. But okay, I mean, that's a rule mechanic thing, I guess, in the end. So let's not worry about that too much. Okay, so we get 2 sail icons here, and you can only set sails once per turn, basically. And I think we are also going to play our captain here now, which also comes with a sail. So in total we have 3 sails, which is not too bad. We have used this captain here. If the captain would have more icons, we could still use those icons. So you don't have to, I don't know, decide on which icons to use. On some abilities, yes, if there are also or kind of abilities with a red dash, basically, which tell you need to go for the left or the right. But in this case, in most cases, you can really use all the stuff that is showing on the card. But right now, it's only this one ability. So we have 3 sails, and I think with a free action we are going to load the starting thing onto our starting cargo, onto our cargo hold here. Again, we already have used our sail, which is why, again, it doesn't really matter too much. And so I think the idea might be to get even more ability cards here, like this cannon, for example. The problem is I don't have my gunner in my hand, because you can only upgrade cards that you have played this turn, or basically put an advancement into those. But you can hold on to at least one of those for the next round, for example, and just waiting for until the right card showing up. So I guess with 1 movement, no, let's not. Or does it matter? No, it doesn't really matter, I guess, right? No, it doesn't. So first of all, we are going to play those 2 cards. And these 2 cards give you basically 2 goods onto your harbor. So before I sail out, I think let's deal with those. So we are placing 2 cargo into our harbor. Again, this is the ability from the bosun and the crew in this case. And because, again, with a free action, and we can do that as many times as we want, we are going to load those 2 cargo into the hold of the Widowmaker. This hold is now fully loaded, so it has a 3. We still have this one here to go. We can upgrade our ship later on, and that's really crucially important, actually. But we have already used basically 3 from our cards, but we still have a lot of speed here. and I think we are going to use it now. So we are spending 1 movement to move out of the harbor, and all of those basically ocean tiles here in the first row basically are connected to the harbor. So from the blue I could also directly sail out from here, and from here I can also directly sail into my harbor, so we don't have to whatever. I could have also sailed out down here, but again, I think I want this advancement card down there. So we have to spend our first movement going down to 2, and unfortunately movement is not carrying over to our next round, so whatever we are not using this round is basically gone, and maybe that was already a bad thing anyway, but that's okay. We are here, we can continue to move later on, and I think we are going to encounter. An encounter is something that we don't need a card for. We can simply do that up to twice during our round. So we are spending now 3 of our cargo for this card over here, which basically tells you have to spend 3 cargo from your ship. That's really important, so we cannot, that's why we had to basically load it into our ship first. So we're taking this advancement card and putting it next to our player board. We are getting to basically advance one of our characters, or maybe we carry it over to the next round at the end of this round. We still have 2 more movement left, and I'm already regretting that I have used my captain, but maybe not. Let's see about that. And I guess with our, we could now move basically 1 and 2, but that's the question. I really wanted to place a cube down here, basically getting more influence out, because there's also an area majority kind of thing going on in this game. So I guess we are playing, before we are moving, we are playing that deckhand here. The deckhand allows me to place one of the influence cubes onto an island, basically, where there is space, well, which I can still interact with later on. If there are certain buildings here from my opponents, I cannot easily place influence cube here, but right now it's basically free. So we are placing one of our cubes in here, and this only consists of 3 spaces. So if I get a second one, I automatically take over control of this island, and I will explain this to you. So you're placing your cubes here, and then depending on the majority you take control. These things were basically used to purchase this advancement card here. So this has also taken care of this deckhand, but again, my turn is still not over, as I still have 2 more movement left. So in theory I could move in here and then it would flip, but on the other hand I could also, you can sail over unexplored ocean tiles in this case. So if I go in here then and end my movement here, then I really have to reveal what it is, and you can only do that once per round, unfortunately. So you cannot really sail zigzag across the ocean and reveal all those tiles, because there is an achievement for that. In order to stop that, you can only do that once per round. So the question is, do I want to move in here because it gives me some freedom to continue moving later on? I think that's not the worst thing in the world. So yes, I will use my remaining 2 movement, 1 and 2. Yes, you cannot move diagonally in this game. And I think we are basically exploring this ocean tile here. And that's Le Rocher Maudit. And we are also bringing out a advancement card from level 3. And I think I have to do this a little bit differently. And that's basically it. Oh yeah, much cheaper, much cheaper. So maybe let's have a look at it, what it does. It costs us only 1 good, and it comes with this icon here, which allows you to actively attack another player, which you don't have those two, a lot of those. I think mainly the captain has one, but you have to upgrade your captain at least once in order to get to this. And it also comes with a battle ability, which says draw a card and you may play it now, and if it has cannons, you drop that many cubes. So I can basically, if I know that I have a strong deck in respect to cannons, then I can use it basically once during my round. Okay, that's a pretty amazing card, but unfortunately I'm out of goods, so I cannot afford this, which is really a pity. So sometimes you really want to move out first and then see what's happening, but it could have been a crap card and then I wouldn't have bought anything. So I still think I could be okay. On the other hand, I also do know that the AI is next. And again, I haven't played this game solo before. I have no clue what they are doing. Before I'm ending my turn, I'm going to place one of my cubes onto this achievement here, which is, I think, the Explorer. So whenever you are exploring a new ocean tile here, you can place a cube here. And in a 2-player game, if you manage to do that 5 times, you will score 5 points at the end of the game. And I think, yeah, in a 3-player game, in a 2-player game, I think only 1 player can actually do that, because they're only, yeah, there are only 9 unrevealed tiles out there. And again, you need 5 in this case. Okay, I placed one of those cubes here, but rest assured the AI will do pretty much the same thing. And then, yeah, I'm pretty much going into my cleanup. So now I can place my cannon advancement into one of my played cards here, the deckhand, the bosun, the crew, or the captain. But right now I don't really feel like it. I really want this with my gunner, or maybe do I want to make maybe the captain a little bit stronger later on, because the captain will also be the guy who is going to initiate a battle. So maybe giving him at least 1 cannon may not be the worst thing in the world. The problem is, you see, it's basically a topmost advancement here, and there's a middle advancement and there's a bottom advancement. The moment I place in this top advancement into the captain card here, I can no longer upgrade this card. So this is what you're really tied to then. I can still go for a middle one and a down one, but I can never upgrade the top one here. And this cannon for this guy is really not the source. So maybe I will go for a crew instead. Yeah, let's do that. So I will basically take this. I will sleeve it here into this deck. So basically the next time I'm playing this crew, this will give me 1 cargo into the harbor and will also give me 1 cannon in case I need it to whatever defend myself or, yeah, attack someone else. And that's basically the end of my round. I think there's really nothing else to do. Normally in a 2 or 3, 4 player game, so in a multiplayer game, I would now draw my next hand of cards. You always draw 4 cards. Your hand limit is typically 6. So if you have 3 cards left, then you're only drawing 3 and you get the idea. So I would now draw 4 cards, I believe. And then I would be allowed to upgrade one of my crew for free. And upgrading a crew basically means you're taking them out and flipping them to the other side, so you automatically get one of those bonus abilities for the new hand of cards. So not with these that you have played, but right now there's no real waiting time. I pretty much can move directly over to the Wayward Covenant, I believe, and now things will start to get interesting, because again, I have no clue what this guy is doing. Yes, there's a ton of icons and there are good examples in there, but again, it's a very involved kind of a nice. So let's simply draw our first card. We are aligning it like this basically, and we are also looking which turn we are. Right now we are in turn 1, 2, 3, which means we are looking at the topmost thing here. First of all, we are seeing this basically the same symbol that we had on our, what was it, the deckhand. Exactly this one here. So they are going to lay some cubes into the Caribbean, and the orange one tells me where the ship will basically end their movement this round. Okay, first of all, I think we can go for the easy one here, and that's to place 1 control cube into this island over here. Very, very easy. Then it would take, because it's a white border on this tile here, this is referring to this ocean tile here, it would claim the advancement on this ocean tile. Because it's not yet revealed, it's going to reveal this ocean tile here accordingly. We are going to draw 1 advancement, and that's this one here. And this also means because it has a cannon, it will take this advancement right away. We will place it into, I think it's a cannon pile or a pirate tile or whatever it's referred to. And that's basically it. It would place a cube in there. The good thing is there is no island in here, so we can basically ignore that. And this conditional access effect over here basically says if there is any island that the AI does not control, which has either or goods and gold, it would basically start placing cubes there or attack us. In this case, it's the first round of the game. We haven't really produced anything, so we can ignore that effect. And last but not least, we will place the ship over here. So in theory, we could go after this ship if we want to, if we feel like it. And because whenever you are sinking a ship, it's basically giving you an achievement over here. You can do that basically once during your game. Then you can sink a ship more than once. You also get gold from that ship, for example, but it's also not easy to do so. Because they have also explored an ocean tile, they're also going to place 1 of their achievement cubes over here. And while the rule for us is in place, we can do that only once per round. This rule is not in place for the AI, so they can basically explore any amount of ocean tiles in a given round. So I'm not really sure if we will have a chance to beat the AI on this particular goal here, but maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. And of course I have forgotten to basically restock those encounters for my turn. Luckily in this case it didn't really make a difference because the eye was not going to go there. So we are placing a merchant ship into this space, and again we have pretty much a deck for each of those rows here. That's a level 2 row. There's a little bit more difficult in respect to those merchant ships here, for example, and here we also have to refresh. So let's see what comes out here. That's another advancement, a cheap one, which allows you to basically initiate an additional attack here, which could help. Okay, now I basically have drawn my start or my new hand of cards for this round, which are basically over here. Normally I would do that with a card holder, but these cards are extremely thick and heavy and they simply don't fit. It's really a mess. But okay, it is what it is. I get to now upgrade one of those. And again, we get to see what we are going to upgrade. And right now I'm tempted to go with a gunner maybe. The crew maybe not so much because, yeah, we can repair in harbor. We can also get more stuff into harbor. But the first mate would be pretty good because it would allow me to start building stuff. And maybe that's what I'm going to do, or should I really? Nah, I think let's go with the gunner. I really don't know how aggressive the AI is. So basically how I do this, I draw the crew card out of this sleeve. I flip it to the other side, or turn it to the other side in this case. And there are two sides. So here's also level 3 and level 4. I put it back in here. Now this gunner is level 2. So it's now producing one good and also a cannon. Then we can also see what this would do if we would move it up to level 3, for example. So we would produce 2 and a cannon, and comes with a battle ability. Again, because this is a green line, it means we can use them all those abilities per row. So that's very nice. And again, you always do that with your active hand of cards. You're allowed to do that once during your turn, or basically during the other player's turn with your new cards. So your deck gets automatically stronger, which is really something I do like a lot. So you get to use them right away. Now that we have a merchant ship here, I might be inclined to move there. On the other hand, doing this one here might be also great. The problem is I don't have any goods right now, and I cannot produce those goods on my ship automatically. Yes, I do have the symbols here. So basically a good or a cargo and a cargo. But the problem is, again, they are produced in my harbor. So I would have to move back first. And yeah, that's not, I don't know. I can come up with 2 sails for sure. And again, with those sails, I could maybe, I mean, I could not, I think exactly, I'm not even able to make it back to the harbor because it's 3 spaces away now. So maybe I do want to, should we go for the goal and continue to explore maybe? So I could use one movement here and then maybe move in here, or maybe move in here. We could still trade with this merchant. We could attack it just to see how things go. You are able to beat those. They typically come with, I think, 4 or 5 battle cubes in level 2 here. Maybe 3, it doesn't, it depends a little bit, but I would think 4 to 5 in this case. Whereas I would come up with 2 now. Again, that's not nothing. You can still do stuff with that. That's now an interesting piece, but we can definitely wait and move in here to see what's under these ocean tiles, for example. So yeah, I think first of all we are going to set sails. Unfortunately, I don't have any cards in my hand that produce sail oceans here, but again, both of my cargo holds are empty. Now I see I cannot simply unload and load again. I could jettison cargo. That's something that you are allowed to do, but then it's gone. But in this case, again, I have 2 sails, so that's 2. Yeah, I think that's still okay. That's still okay. Let's spend 1 to move in here to this area. And that's, what is it? The twins, of course, that's nice. So we are moving in here. We are going to place another cube onto the explorer thingy. So we have 2 out of 5, but yeah, it's a race. It's really a race. We are going to place a level 2 encounter in there. Maybe we get something fancy there. And yes, I think it is fancy, but we are not able to afford this. It's another cannon and comes with basically a conditional effect. If this card has at least 3 cannons on it, deal 1 damage to all enemy ships within 1 space, not in harbor. Wow, this thing is brutal. I really want this for my gunner. Wow, an amazing card, but again, it costs 3 cargo, which I simply do not have right now. before I'm not doing anything, I guess I am going to play at least, I think, these 2 cards, right? So that's pretty much 2 cargo, which I need to place into the harbor, or into my dock basically, so I can pick them up a little bit later. No one can steal those things away from me, by the way, from this one here. From other islands, yes, but not from my harbor. So they are basically here waiting for me. So these were the first mate and the crew. I still have a deckhand and I still have my gunner. Right now I'm not sure if I want the gunner, I want to use the gunner right now, but I may want to go for the deckhand. And the reason for that is that we could use, I think we have spent 1 movement here, I should not forget that. We could now basically move in here to lay another influence cube. The problem is, from there I would have a hard time exploring more. So right now I'm kind of tempted to really move into this ocean tile here. I don't have any attack capabilities, and I believe the AI is never going into an active pirate mode, quote unquote. So pirate mode pretty much means you're putting in your pirate token into your ship, and whenever a ship is ending the movement in your space, then they have to fight you basically. They can move through you like with these unexplored ocean tiles, but if they stop, they have to fight you. It's a bit also a very weird rule actually from a thematical perspective, but it is what it is. So let's remove those 2. They go in here because we have played them, and I think let's do that because from here we can continue to explore, and there are chances that they will now interact with islands, whatever, that are already explored, of course. So the faster I go, the more likely it is that I will be able to make it to this goal, and that's 5 points or 5 coins. That's not nothing in this game. So yeah, let's do that. So we are moving in here with our last thing. Unfortunately, I cannot use my deckhand properly because there's no influence cube to place here. I could now really deal with a merchant ship here. And you have basically 2 ways to deal with a merchant ship. You can either basically trade with a merchant ship, so you pay 1 or whatever it says here. In this case, it would be 1 good from your ship, and then you would take this card as it is, and you can then later on advance 1 of your cards. You sleeve it into your sleeve, basically. That's, I think, still not a bad card. It produces 2 goods in your harbor, so that's definitely helpful. Or you can simply fight the merchant ship, and there are 4 merchant ships in each deck with a base game at least. And then you flip it over, and then you have to battle it. And depending on the outcome, you will get an even more powerful thing. Typically when you lose, it's also not the end of the world, because I think in a lot of cases you still get something out of it, like whatever, upgrading 1 of your crew cards, for example, which again is never a bad thing, obviously. The question is, it's already a level 2, and I could come up with 2 cannons, and that's really not a lot. But as I'm still, I think I consider this as a learning game to really learn the AI. So I'm not necessarily inclined to immediately win this game, and I'm really willing to give this another try before the AI is taking it away, because they will definitely have much more chances beating it. And just to show you as much as I can in this first video, might be stupid, but let's go for it. So we are going to attack. We don't need any attack icons for these encounter cards, by the way. You can simply do that. So we are flipping this to the other side, and we are kind of lucky. It also only comes with 2 cubes here. And what it says, if we win, we would gain 1 gold to our ship, which is a victory point, and we would gain this advancement here, which is another influence cube, and that's really not bad. And if we lose, kind of a problem, we get 2 damage, but we, as a consolation prize, we would level up a card from discard pile or bottom of the deck. So that's really nice, and in this case I would be totally fine losing it actually. So I think either way it's a win. Cool stuff. It's a lightly armed merchant ship. So again, they come with 2 of those plague cubes, and now I have to come up with my battle strength. So we get 1 cannon here from this one, and then I guess we are going to play the gunner in this case. This comes with an additional cube here for this gun, and again it's a green arrows or green line, so we get to produce 1 good. It goes to our harbor, so we have ultimately used it. We can pick it up maybe next round or sometime, I don't know, but ultimately we have 2 cubes. The lightly armed merchant ship has 2 cubes, and now we are finally moving over to the battle board here and the dice tower in this case, which was a true pain to assemble. I hated every second of it, and you see it's bent and everything. Totally crazy, but now it's together and it fits very nicely into the box. That's at least something. So what we are doing now, we will take all of those 4 cubes, the 2 black cubes from the, in this case, neutral player, the merchant ship, our blue cubes, and then yeah, let's see what happens. We are placing those in, we are checking, yeah, that's bad, where they have landed. So we are making 1 damage here, we are getting 1 gold, they do 2 damage, and they also get some stuff over here. The good thing is neutral basically players ignore these bonus effects, so we can remove those. This here is really bad, so they inflict 2 points of damage on our ship, and they come with these nice wooden damage markers here. Love it a lot. Again, the components that come with this game, really gorgeous to look at. And if you ever have 5, you are sinking basically. It's also not the end of the world, which is good. It's not very punishing. Yes, if you are sunk by the I player, they will get 5 coins from you. That's definitely in the end a 10-point swing, which is bad, of course, but ultimately you are pretty much back in the game. You keep all your goods, for example, on your ship, and no real ill effects, nothing compared to losing your captain in Merchant Marauders, for example. So let's move back to the battle board and let's check our cube. So we have taken care of this one here too. We are inflicting 1 damage on the merchant ship, but this doesn't do anything, so we can also immediately remove it. This one here gives us 1 coin onto our ship. Now this is something, because in the end that is a victory point. I place it into one of our holes. It really takes a spot in your hole. That's basically the one bad thing about it, but we have taken care of this one too. Now you would wonder, okay, now who have won the game, or the battle in this case? And it doesn't really matter how much damage you do, it's really all about those crowns here. So the player who has more crowns wins in case of a tie, which is a tie right now, 0 versus 0. The active player, aka me, has won this battle. So this was amazing. So I have won, which means I get another silver doubloon in this case. I put it onto my harbor. Oh wow, this is a good start, and we get the advancement here below. I think this was definitely a nice win. I might give it to my... No, I can't, because the deckhand is in my hand right now, but I can hold on to this. There's no real immediate reason to do that right away, but I won it anyway. So I think this was definitely a win. So I'm now pretty much out of movement, out of, I would say, useful cards in this case. Yes, I'm damaged, but these things will happen. And again, there are far worse things out there on the ocean here. So I think I'm going to end my turn, which means we are moving over to the Covenant. We are revealing the next card, and we are still in round 1, 2, 3. So they would place a cube in the top left corner in row 1, basically. The good thing is there is no island there, so we can pretty much ignore this. They will then, yeah, unfortunately, reveal this ocean tile here. This is an island. We have to bring out another card. They will immediately, and again, I forgot to replenish this, so we'll take it. It's a battle card because it comes with a battle ability, so it goes into the so-called battle stack, which will play a role once we fight this fella here. And they will also place an influence cube onto this island, which is the Sea Hound Isle, and they will also end their movement there. There are no special effects here. There are no extra actions they are doing here. This typically starts the farther we come into the game, and I like the idea that to think of it as the ice also getting stronger, upgrading their cards, for example, but that's basically already the end of their turn. Now let's, again, I keep forgetting, I don't know why. So this should have been the first one we would have revealed. So ultimately, I think I already made a mistake here, but I will not take it back. So we are going to place this one here, and we are going to place this one here. If you ever run out of whatever level 2 and you have to bring out, then you go to the next higher level. So you will definitely always have something to do. And I guess that's the end of the entire round. Of course, I should have mentioned is that I was not going to place this into one of my cards already, because I think I want them in my deckhand, but I didn't play my deckhand. And you can hold on to cards. Again, your hand size is 6, and the more cards you carry over to next round, the more likely it is you get something useful out of this. And you can hold on to one of those advancement cards from round to round. There are also some exceptions to that, but yeah, it's typically 1 card per round. Okay, this would be the hand for my next round. Again, we had one deck hound left, and again your hand size is 6, so I'm drawing 4 more, so I have 5 cards available now, and I still get to make an upgrade of a character. Should I go for another gunner? But right now I'm tempted to upgrade my buccaneer, because I already see how aggressive the AI is going to place those cubes, and those islands, they all come with a ton of points you would score at the end of the game if you basically happen to have the most cubes in there. So controlling this island, this would be 4 for the first player, 3 for the second player, but there are also islands that give you 9 points, for example. Or over here, the Sea Hound Isle, where the Covenant plays their cube here, that's worth 6 points at the end of the game. The second player would still get in 5, so I would be inclined to place at least some cubes over here. And then there's also an achievement to place so-called permanent cubes onto these islands here. So really a lot to consider in this case, and that's why I'm tempted to go with the buccaneer. But one thing I nearly forgot, speaking about those achievements, I have successfully captured or basically attacked another ship. I've won this battle, and merchant ships do count for that. I get to place a cube in there, and when I do that 3 more times, I get to place one of my achievement flags in here, and that would be also 5 points at the end of the game. Also extremely important. But I still have to upgrade, and I guess we will go with the buccaneers. So we will take it out. This works fairly well, actually. So take it out, it goes to level 2. We are moving it in behind. And so if we are playing this guy now, this round, it will generate us 2 flags. And it could go for 3 flags here, for example. 3 of those cubes, which can be quite a lot. And I think that's basically now officially the start of my turn, but I believe I will call it for today. So these were 2 full rounds basically, and I was also already showing you some battle action, which is definitely something I do like in this game a lot. I like this dice tower, I really like this battle board here, nicely done, ton of fun. And with the battle abilities later on, you also have some abilities moving those cubes around, adding more cubes, removing cubes, so a lot of somewhat, let's say, more tactical decisions that you can take, of course, but in the end it's a die roll. But a game like this, I'm really totally fine that you're rolling some kind of dice. A huge shout out to all of my patrons out there. Really do appreciate all your support a lot. The same is true for my channel members on YouTube. So if you want to support me, to support my channel, please consider joining me on Patreon, joining me here on YouTube directly. But you also great help if you simply like and subscribe, leave a comment. Again, everything helps in this case. And I really hope you are staying tuned and stay with me here through the solo mode of Dead Reckoning. The 2-player games I played was really a ton of fun. I like the flow of this game. I like that it's relatively streamlined for, let's say, a game like this. Typically, these pirate kind of games are relatively complex. This feels simple, but still deep enough that it can be, or it is, a ton of fun. So really a very enjoyable experience. And I already noticed something too, of course. The Wayward Covenant also have revealed their second island up here. So they should have placed their second cube in here. And again, the first with 5 here would win this, but I'm not very, it's very unlikely that I will be able to meet this goal there. But yeah, hope you're enjoying it. Hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And until then, bye bye.